Unit 5, Lesson 1, Direct Variation. So this is the first lesson of our 5th unit. So this is the unit where we will be investigating slope of the line, equations of the line using y equals mx plus b. So we're going to start with the first type of graph, which is called a direct variation. So a direct variation occurs when the dependent variable varies by the same factor as the independent variable. So I want to just highlight these two terms. So remember, your independent variable is your x-axis and your dependent variable is your y-axis. And when it varies by the same factor, what that means is that it's going to form a straight line. So let's do an example together. Danielle earns $6 per hour working as a lifeguard. Her total pay is a function of the number of hours she works. Since its graph is a straight line, we say that it is a linear function. So we're going to be using this word a lot in this unit. So let's highlight linear function. Sketch a graph of the table. Okay, so let's look at some information here. So the more Danielle works, the more she's going to get paid. So the hours worked would be our independent variable, and the amount she gets paid depends on the hours that she works. So at 0 hours, she gets 0 pay. At 2 hours, she gets $12. At 4 hours, she gets 24. So let's look at this box here and start answering some questions. So it says, what is the relationship between the graphs? So in this chart, as hours increases, her pay increases. So we call this a positive relationship. It means as one variable increases, the other variable increases. When the hours worked is doubled, the pay is, so when she works 2 hours, her pay is $12. When hours worked is tripled, so when she works 3 hours, she would get paid $18. Next part says, write a relationship using k as a constant. Hint, k should be an integer and rational number. So it means that k has to be an actual number, because that would be the factor that we are multiplying by. So her pay is equal to the factor that we're multiplying by times the hours worked. Okay, so we can rewrite this as y is equal to kx, where y is the hours worked, and k is the amount of pay, and x is the number of hours that she works. So sorry, y is the pay. So we can isolate k. So we divide both sides by x to get rid of the x. So k is equal to y over x. And if we substitute that into using our numbers, 12, let's say I pick this one right here. So 12 and 2. So 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So therefore, k is equal to 6. All right, constant of proportionality, the constant relating the dependent variable and independent variable. So that is called in this case, we're going to call that k. So then using x to represent the independent variable and y to represent the dependent variable, write an equation relating x to y. So we actually already did this right up here. So y is equal to k times x. So y again is our pay. We multiply it by our factor. So our factor is 6. And then x is the number of hours that we are working. Now, one thing to note about direct variation, so something that's important, is that the equation represents a graph of a function with the slope equal to 1, and that travels through the point 0 and 0. So in a direct variation, that is how you're going to be able to identify it by looking at a graph, is that it will pass through the point 0, 0. So I'm just going to draw a quick little sketch of what that would look like. So let's say this is y and this is x. So a direct variation would look like that, where that is 0, 0. Okay, so let's do another example. Y varies directly as x, and when x is equal to 12, y is equal to 16. So that means that on a graph, if you were to graph this relation, one of the points on the line would be 12 and 16, where 12 is x and y is 16. So this question is divided into 3 parts. So A, we're going to write y as a function of x. B, we're going to find y when x is equal to 5. And then C, we're going to find x when y is equal to 30. So we're going to start it at the bottom, and then we'll continue on the next page. So it says, since y varies directly as x, the equation is linear. So write down linear. So linear means that it's going to form a straight line. So in order to solve A, what we're going to do is substitute in x equals to 12 and y is equal to 16. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us our k value. So we're going to stop there and we'll continue on the next video.